from Kugompo City, playing against the 6-Gun Grill Garden Route Badgers. Two teams that are locked in the middle of this CSA 1Day Cup log, with the SWD just slightly ahead of the Iinyathi by net run rate, and they have won one of their games by bonus point. The Iinyathi, of course, in their previous game could not get that bonus point, that all-important bonus point. I am not alone, of course, here today. I am with my colleague, Sir Ali Jack. How are you today, sir?
Hi, Blessing. I'm good. It's a beautiful weather here in East London. Good day for cricket. But when we got here, it was slightly overcast. But yeah, it looks like it's a promising day for cricket. Yeah, the news from the middle. The visitors, the Badgers, won the toss and they elected to bat. So now our umpires for the day is Ivan van der Merwe and Yanni Erasmus. And to open bowling for the home side is Nico van Zyl.
Yeah, it's said to be a pulsating match here between these two teams. It's going to be an interesting one for the Eastern Cape Iinyathi, because the games that they have won this season, they have been posting totals, but now they have a different challenge they have to chase, of which they have not been successful thus far in the competition. They've had some spectacular, calamitous collapses in the past few games, but we are going to see how well they're going to do against this powerful SWD batting lineup. Umpires are just about ready to commence with play. Nico van Zyl at the top of his mark. Umpire calls play. Immediately from Nico van Zyl, we see that there is a bit of movement on the track. Of course, this is the same track that they were using last week, so I am not sure if, Sir Jack, you believe that that's going to help the Eastern Cape Iinyathi or is going to hinder them.
Yeah, I think they do have an upper hand. Last week it was a fresh wicket, so at least they battled with it. Now they should be at least familiar with it.
Thought about taking the quick single there to Blanche, but his partner advised him against it. It's still no runs on the board of the first two balls.
I'm just looking at the field. I've got third man out and deep square leg. And funny enough, inside the circle, the fielders are too tight, way inside the circle.
It's a very good shot, and even better fielding from Michael Copeland in the covers. Fielding has been very important for the Eastern Cape Iinyathi. We saw them last week take a few good catches and also drop a few that were very difficult, but you can see that the enthusiasm around the team is very, very high. Kgaudi Molefe perhaps feeling it a bit from the warm-up sessions. I heard him on our way back from the toss. He was saying that the coaches went a bit hard during the warm-ups and he was feeling it in his left hand.
And Pete, it's one of the Iinyathi's best fielders, but he's a big boy, he can handle it.
Once again, the ball perhaps not coming as quickly as Ruan de Blanche was expecting it. 5 balls in from Nico van Zyl, and he has stayed true to form, has one of the best economy rates in the competition.
It's also lovely to see that the home team keeper is looking well and fine. Because last week he was injured a bit.
The umpire calls it. He gives his wicket away to the Eastern Cape Iinyathi at the end of the first over. Unbelievable scenes here to start the day. Ruanta Blanche, one of the two top batters of the competition so far.
Yeah, you can also say that was a soft dismissal. He played early and playing it to the man right in front of him. He didn't trouble the scorers much. He's out for a duck, facing 6 deliveries.
Up until today, Ruanta Blanche had scored a ton of runs for the SWD. His highest score was 133, but now he goes for a duck, and it's the perfect start for the Eastern Cape Iinyathi. Nico van Zyl does it again for his team.
Yeah, he bowled very well last weekend. So he would like to do the very same even this week. He's a tall oak. He's hitting the deck hard. He's doing everything right. Yeah, and it has paid off for him and the team.
That's twice in the space of 7 days that Nico van Zyl has got a wicket and a maiden. Last week against the Mpumalanga Rhinos, he got a double wicket maiden to put them in a prime position to win the game, and now he has given them the perfect start. Now, one of our colleagues who's going to come on comms did mention that we have to keep a special eye, a close eye on Carl Jacobs, the number 3 batsman for the 6-gun grill Garden Route Badgers, because he has, I wouldn't call it a quirk, but he has an interesting setup just before he faces a fast bowler coming in.
Chad Klassen will have the second over.
Once again, he falls over there. Perhaps the ball once again was a touch bit too slow. It's more of the same fielding wise for Chad Klassen. Nico van Zyl is standing at a very square third man, and Lihle Sizani is at a deep backward square leg rather. That's a very good ball from Chad Klassen. That's the one that just kept going straight, went across the line.
Yeah, that was a great ball outside off stump. That was the 4th stump. Yeah, the batsman couldn't play him there. He was tempted a bit. But yeah, I've got a feeling if he stay on that line, he will rip something, definitely sure.
No ball by Chad Klassen, a bit too over-eager, too enthusiastic. And the first runs of the day come via an extra from the Eastern Cape Iinyathi.
Yeah, and the score is now 1-1. Maybe it's good for Vali to try to loosen up a bit. This is a free hit. He can do whatever he wants.
That's very well bowled from Chad Klassen. He gave himself room there to try and open up that offside. It looks like he would have been better served having stayed in his crease and just giving that the big wallop. Yes.
He was trying to charge down the wicket, but he misses the ball completely.
Great shot. Stood back, And he dispatches that for 4 behind square on the offside. No chance for Nico van Zyl running in from that square. Third man we were talking about earlier. That's the first boundary of the day.
Yeah, the ball was way outside off stump. It was there to be hit, and he managed to beat the guy at third man there. He gets his first boundary for the day.
2 balls remaining in the over and already 5 runs coming from it. Changing angles is Chad Claassen. Goes down the ground and dispatches him for 4 through the extra cover region.
Yeah, that was a top cricket shot through the covers as Chad changed the angle. It was lovely to see, and that will also give him some confidence. It came right from the middle of the willow.
Last ball from Chad Claassen. Once again, it's a bit too wide, but the batsman wisely leaves it to end the over. The score is 9 for 1 after 2.
Yeah, coming from this game, Nico van Zyl was the leading wicket taker of the Division 2. He had 10. So I'm assuming now the apps will be, after the game, revised. So he was sitting at 10 wickets. So I'm assuming now he's got 11 scalps.
It's even more impressive when you see the average there for Nico van Zyl. It's 15.80. That essentially means that for every wicket he gets, on average he concedes 15.8 runs. And that's quality for a fast bowler. And you see that he's got some shape in that, does Nico van Zyl.
Yeah, one thing I like about him, he's targeting the wickets, trying to bowl wicket to wicket.
Yeah, that's the main difference between those first 2 overs, isn't it? That Nico van Zyl was a bit tighter, whereas Chad Claassen did stray a bit too wide. Once again, he keeps the batsman busy.
I'm liking the sound of the bat. It reminds me of Wanderers, the bull ring. Whenever I'm always there, I just like to listen to the sound of the willow.
In a packed Wanderers stadium. It's fantastic that you can still hear the sound of the willow. Once again, Nico van Zyl gets it up close to the batsman, but he plays it straight to the man standing at a short mid-off.
Yeah, I guess the bull ring, hence they are saying it's the ring. It's the way it's been built. So it's more like a circle, everyone is here, everything is here. So you can easily get that sound. Even a nick, you can almost hear it.
It's an impressive start here from Nico van Zyl. He's bowled 10 balls so far and he hasn't gone for a single run, and crucially he's got a wicket as well of Ruan to Blanche.
Yeah, good line and length there. He was almost squaring him up. I'll tell you what, most of the fast bowlers, they do love when a batsman is doing that.
Once again, a very good line from Nico van Zyl, and the batsman wisely decides to leave that one.
Yeah, I'm also checking how hard the surface is. Malika just took that one right in front of his eyes. Wicket is nice and hard.
we'll have to inspect it from the other end as well, because if I remember correctly, the first over, Chad Klaassen's balls weren't carrying all that well. And he tries to get the one that comes back in, but the batsman is very solid to end the over. 9 for 1 after 3. It's another maiden over for Nico van Zyl.
Great bowling by Nico van Zyl. He's tightening the screws right from the beginning. The visitors will have to dig them out of this situation. At least after the first power play, they must at least be close to 50 runs at least.
Yeah, the SWG team has so far this season tried to be aggressive, and we saw in the approach that Yasin Valley utilized against Chad Klaassen in the first over is not going to back down. Once again, slight slip up in concentration from Hardas Kutsa allows Yasin Valley to get the run.
Chad won't be happy with that. It went through his legs. The London Bridge.
Some call it the Sydney Harbour Bridge. But it's a left-hand, right-hand combination here for the 6-gun Grill Garden Route Badgers. It's a dynamic that the Eastern Cape Iinyathi didn't face much of in the previous game. It was very weird for them to be coming up against so many left-handers.
Yeah, lucky them. They're getting the same combinations again this weekend.
Umpire will judge that to be a bit too high, but Chad Klaassen will be happy that he in some way was able to beat the bat.
Yeah, that was an easy decision for the umpire there. Ball was high. Looks like, Kengese, from what you were saying, the wicket, this side is too paced. Some balls they keep low.
It's yet another great delivery from Chad Klaassen. The problem for him, they've been too few and far in between. But when he gets it right, it's a peach of a delivery. But once again, did you see how low Malika took that ball? Almost at ankle height.
Yeah, that kept low from the end Chad is bowling from. So both ends are different.
Once again, a very good line from Chad Klaassen and ably respected by the batsman. So Chad Klaassen, should be very encouraged when he sees that. We do, of course, expect the crowd to fill up today. It is a weekend, it is a Sunday, and we have the Steve Vukile Chwete Games organized by the Department of Sports and Recreation here in the Eastern Cape. Those players' games are just about to finish now or have already finished, and you will see them trickling into the stadium before they depart for their respective homes in their respective districts.
Yeah, also normally on Sundays, the promotional leagues would finish earlier. So we would see them coming in bits by bits.
It's the last ball of the over, and Chad Klaassen is able to get yet another dot. He only went for one run in that over, and also the score changes to 11 for 1 after 4.
If you're checking at the replay, I also like his line and length. Targeting the stumps does not give any room to the opposition to free his hands.
And you can see that Yasin Valley can also see that, because he's trying to move around the crease to create opportunities for himself. Now we see Nico van Zyl coming up against Carl Jacobs yet again. Very sound technique from Carl Jacobs. Very side on when he's waiting for the ball. It's coming. It would have to be a very good ball to get him off with the neck. I can see that.
Yeah, he gets his body behind the line and he waits for the ball to get to himself. Unlike Teblanche, he played early. He couldn't wait for the ball to get to himself. Drop chance.
It would be very interesting to see that on the replay, but the reaction from the players is that that was a missed opportunity. If it was, then it was extremely difficult. It's possible that that ball bounced just short of the fielder. But this Eastern Cape Iinyathi outfit prides itself on its fielding, and they back themselves to take those half chances.
Yeah, the Badgers will also know about that. They won't take any chances and test the home team. They've been fielding very well.
And fortune was on the side of Nico van Zyl there, because it was the first ball that he bowled that straight down the leg side. But as we said, fortunately for him, it went straight to the field and almost resulted in another wicket. Plays it very well, back of the length. Once again, sound technique from Carl Jacobs.
Yeah, Jacobs still has to open his account. He's looking very nice in terms of his technique, but unfortunately, he still has to open his account.
Very well played. Nico van Zyl was caught in two minds there between evading the ball or trying to take the catch. Jacobs gets off the mark with a solid straight drive.
Yeah, it was not an easy one. Nico van Zyl is a tall oak, and that one he was not gonna be able to take it as he was still on his follow through.
Finally concedes runs. Nico van Zyl tries to go for the short one, but he, fortunately for him, mistimes it over the man. Jason Newman standing at short mid wicket, and that's how we end the over. It goes through for a single as well. 5 runs coming from that Nico van Zyl over. The score is 16 for 1 after 5.
The ball was short and it didn't come up with the pace Jacobs wanted, but he got away there. The ball fell in no man's land.
It's very good to see from Nico van Zyl that he's willing to change things up, to go upstairs. Chad Claassen has a chance to ball to Carl Jacobs. Advances down the track and he just softly nudges it into the gap on the leg side. I think this is a pitch that they're going to have to take their time to study and understand how it's going to play. It's a long game, it's a 50-over game.
Yeah, it's always a challenge when you have to play an away game where SWD are from, and here it's 2 different places. Here you are right at the coast. From where we are sitting, you can be able to see the ocean, the Indian Ocean, and also there's also a golf course. There's some nice and lovely views.
the scoreboard isn't the greatest viewing so far for the 6-gun girl Garden Route Badgers, but they will back themselves to come back from this position. Softly nudges it down to third man. Goes through for yet another single. You can clearly see that the batters are finding it slightly easier to face Chad Clarkson than they are with Nico van Zyl.
Yeah, but also in general, judging from the previous game, the longer you stay in the middle, the better chances of being able to play very well and suss out the players. Chad to Jacobs.
Once again, solid from Jacobs, solid from Chad Clarkson. That's good cricket from both players.
Yeah, I can't wait to see Jacobs doing what he does best. He is looking solid. Hopefully there's plenty of cover drives, pulls and hooks that are coming.
Yeah, you do certainly hope that there's an extra gear in his game. Chad Clarkson strays way down the leg side, but Mncedisi Malika, fortunately for the Eastern Cape Iinyathi, is able to gather that. It is a wide, yet another extra.
Yeah, that's what normally happens. When you are bowling to the left hand and the right hander at the same time. As we see that one guy from slip has been taken off.
Once again, tries to advance down the wicket, but he plays it tentatively. It seemed to have hit him in an area where no person wants to be hit. And you can see standing far is Carl Jacobs, just taking it in. Last ball of the over coming from Chad Clarkson. He's gone for 13 runs so far in this spell. Plays that with a closed bat, able to get right-hander coming back on strike.
I can feel for the umpires. It's steaming out there. But I guess after 3 and 4 balls, you can remain on one end. You don't have to swap again.
Is that a rule, or the umpires just something that they allow themselves?
Yeah, it's an exception from the umpire. It's square leg umpire. So ideally, it's where they are supposed to be.
Yeah, I guess it has changed the game plan a bit for the 6-gun grill Garden Route Badgers now that Ruan Blanche has lost his wicket so early in the innings. So it could be a matter of just seeing out the new ball, seeing out the first power play. Nico Fonsel has one slip in place.
Kengesi, I was watching the World Cup. Obviously, it's 2 different formats now.
It's very well played, but straight to Jason Niemand at cover.
Yeah, West Indies was playing with South Africa, and they lost, I think, 3 early wickets. And somehow they looked like they were not gonna get around 120 mark, but they did not change their game plan at all. They stayed aggressive and they managed to score over 150 runs.
Past the man at cover now, Jason Niemand and it are able to go through for a single.
So where I'm trying to get at is, irrespective of you lost the wicket, but you still have to play your game. Game plan does not change much, except the fact that you need to be cautious on your shot selection as a batter.
There was no caution exercised in the playing of that shot, but the ball perhaps didn't come onto the and playing for the Six Gun Grill Garden Route Badgers. Maybe that Sods is playing. The score is 27-1 after 8.
Yeah, but I was not happy with that back foot punch. He could have gotten 4 runs there, but he settled for 2. Yeah, and there's change in commentary. And it is now Kengesi and Os.
Thank you for that, Sir Jack. There's a change in commentary, but not a change in bowling. Nico van Zyl runs in for his 5th over. Tries to play it just on the right of Gaudu Molefe, but it goes straight to him instead, and there is no run scored. Score is 27-1 after 8. Os, what's been your assessment so far?
Greetings to everyone watching and listening at home. Thanks for the introduction. Assessment so far, it's a boxing match. You know, they're still assessing one another out. The batter's still trying to get in terms of with the pace of the wicket.
Oh, Nico van Zyl manages to get that extra pace and catches Yasin Valley off guard there. Definitely giving him something to think about.
You know, so I think as someone that's coming to play an away game at Buffalo Park, you'd want to do your homework and you'd know that there's runs to be scored at Buffalo Park, but there's a question of how do you score runs here? And I'm going to touch on it just now.
Nico van Zyl seems to have found an extra step here. Yeah, you were talking about how to score runs at Buffalo Park, Os.
So obviously your most challenging times as a batsman is when the new balls are still flying around. So at Buffalo Park you want to see that out without losing too many wickets, as we've seen with the games in the past where Oaks have gone and passed 200, 250 odd. You got to bite your time that first 10 to 15 overs, getting a 3-4 and over.
Good running. Very quick, early decision made by the two batsmen.
Yeah, so and the deeper you take the game, the more freedom you have to play in the later stages of the game. So if you go into that last 15 overs with 7 wickets in hand, and you've got Oaks that can hit a long ball down at your 6 and 7, then you're in the game. But at Buffalo Park, if you chase the game up front, you could find yourself in trouble because the ball does move around a little bit. So you got to just bite your time and look to score big towards the end of the innings.
Once again, Nico van Zyl puts that aggression in, and it's brilliant to see from a spectator's perspective. So what you're saying here, Os, essentially is that the Eastern Cape Iinyathi had the perfect blueprint in the previous game when their top order and middle order were able to give themselves enough time at the crease so that they could have that launch at the back end. Last ball of the over from Nico van Zyl. He gets the wicket! Just as we were talking about exercising caution, Carl Jacobs throws away his wicket. The Eastern Cape Iinyathi are 9 overs into the first innings. Their score is 28 for 2. Nico van Zyl has accounted for both wickets. He looks very dejected, does Carl Jacobs.
Once again, there you saw Jacobs trying to advance down the wicket, searching for runs. Mistake is found. Stumps go costled, getting all over the place. And again, that's not the ability to bite your time, you know. You've got to hang around there. You've got to take your ones. You've got to put away the bad ball. You've got to think big. You've got to think long. You're not going to score a quick 50 here up front. You're going to score big as you bat long and as you get towards the last 10 overs of the match.
Yeah, it's the worst possible time to try and advance down the wicket, having been so solid so far in his innings. And you have to analyze the game as a batsman, because he should have known that was probably Nico van Zyl's last ball of this spell. He's been bowling so well. As it would be, he departs for 12 runs as Carl Jacobs, and he puts former SA under-19 captain George van Heerden to join Yasin Valley at the crease. Was a 28-run partnership. If you've just joined us, that was the second wicket to fall for the 6-gun Grill Garden Route Badgers. They lost the wicket of their power hitter so far in this competition, Rwante Blanche, of the last ball of the first over. He went for a duck, also to Nico van Zyl. Chad Claassen continues to try and probe that area outside of off stump, trying to bowl across the stumps.
I know earlier Sir Jack spoke about the guys that are in the inner ring being too close. I think that's a ploy to try and entice or challenge the batters to go even harder at the ball, to try and get it through those guys to get a boundary. So I don't think it's a bad tactic at all, as long as when it's in reach they stop it.
So you're saying it's a risk and reward kind of situation. If Chad Claassen manages to just put it in the right area, it's probably going to pop up and go straight to the fielders, or close to the fielders enough for them to get an opportunity.
Yeah, that is correct. You know, so as a bowling side, you're always trying to find ways of how to get wickets, and obviously as a batter, you're always just trying to survive whilst you're scoring runs up front.
Caution exercised when trying to play that shot from Yasin Valley, not really using his feet, not going hard at that ball. Perhaps keeping in mind what you just said, not wanting to be caught out in those covers with those very good fielders in Michael Copeland and Jason Niemand.
Yeah, so we're now into the 10th over, and if I refer back to my notes here, the last time a boundary was scored was in the 5th over. And that shows you that there's disciplines from the bowlers, even though the batters from time to time are coming down the wicket trying to get them off their lengths, they're still sticking to their disciplines, and the fielders are backing them up well. And I think the pressure of that might lead to another wicket.
Not expecting that one to be so close to his legs was Yasin Valley. He'll feel like he missed out there, even though the captain of the Eastern Cape Iinyathi, Nathan Roux, has placed himself at that short mid-wicket region to try and get those leading edges or those mistimed shots. Last ball of the over. Very well played and very well fielded. Looks like Christian du Toit. And that's been the hallmark of the innings so far from the Eastern Cape Iinyathi. 10 overs into the game, the score is 29 for 2. And that's the end of the power play. Some interesting stuff here from the Eastern Cape Iinyathi, with the score 29 for 2 after 10, and the new batsman having just come in They are giving Nico Vansel yet another over. He's going to be bowling 6 on the trot. And you have to wonder whether or not they would have given him this extra over had he not gotten the wicket of Kyle Jacobs. He's obviously got more protection now. Fine leg is back. Square leg is back. Third man is back. And also Lihle Sizani at moving now to where square leg is. Deep square leg. But Nico Vansel has now 4 fielders outside the circle between overs 11 and 40.
Yeah, I think with after 10 overs going at 2.9 and over, you want your strike bowler to give you another wicket. So that's why he gets the 6th over.
Probes does Nico Vansel, but well played from George van Heerden. Doesn't lose his head there, keeps his shape.
Good to see some youngsters coming in today to watch the cricket. I saw some familiar faces. I went to go greet these youngsters and asked them if they're here to watch the Iinyathi. And they smiled and they said they're here to watch their cousin, George van Heerden.
Some very misdirected enthusiasm from those youngsters. You'll find that they won't be very popular around these parts. He gets his first runs, does George van Heerden. Plays it off the hips. No more slips for Nico Vansel. Very good fielding from Khaudi Mulefe, but the throws cause for unnecessary runs. And they're able to go through for a single. Nico Vansel employing 3 fielders on the boundary. Seemingly doesn't need to have 4 at the moment. As you said, he's still in striking mode, so he doesn't see the need to have 4 on the boundary.
Nice strong setup here from the batsman George van Heerden. You know, there's not much movement that he does when the bowler's running in. He's focused, head nice and still, looking at the bowler, looking at the ball. You know, he's a compact player. You know, he doesn't do much outside of his zone up front. He does what you call, he plays well within his box.
Last ball from Nico Vansel, and what you would expect to be the last ball of his spell. Ably played from George van Heerden to end the over. 11 overs gone. The score is 32 for 2. The applause coming from the Eastern Cape Iinyathi dugout suggests that that was the last over from Nico Vansel, and he's done extremely well. He bowled 6 overs, went for 11 runs and got the 2 wickets that we've seen so far in this game. And Tandontini comes into the attack to replace Chad Claassen.
If you watch the field, yeah, we still got a point, cover, extra cover in the mid-on, mid-wicket, all inside the ring. And that's because the bowling side is on top, you know. So at this point in time, as a batting side, you'd hope that you'd have boundary riders out so you can hit those sweepers.
So you're saying that the Eastern Cape Iinyathi are basically not giving them an out.
Yeah, so this is the game. This is the part of the game where you squeeze. I reckon if the score was at about 50 or so, you'd see sweepers out. That's when the batters would have to take those ones to the boundary riders. But because the squeeze is on, the Iinyathi side believe that they're on top, and they don't want them to get away. You know, they're forcing the batters to do something to get runs.
It is very much something that Yasin Valley believes he can do. That is a wonderful shot played over cover. Gets the first maximum of the day, and he silences all the fielders on the field. That is some way to get your statement across.
He's been waiting for that. You know, anything that's straight, he's played with respect. He's missed out on a couple of boundary balls on his pads. That one there was just pitched up, half volley, and he just freed his arms over extra cover for 6 runs. He's a boundary hitting batsman. You know, he's eager to go after the bowler. You saw him in the first couple of overs charging down the wicket, and now he gets what you call a freebie, and he dispatches it for a boundary.
That 6 has prompted Tandantini to change angles. Bowls a bit straighter. Almost finds success. They are able to go through, and the umpire says the batsman had bat on ball there. So, of the first 3 balls of this Tandantini over, we've seen 7 runs already, and the pressure is already off on George van Heerden. It's a perfect situation for him.
It is nice as a new coming batter to know that the over is already under pressure and you don't have to do much.
Oh, he goes fishing. He goes fishing. Does George van Heerden? That is not good thinking. 7 runs already in the over, and you have just come onto the crease. You need to be taking your time.
As a batsman, you don't mind a bowler bowling a ball that deserves your wicket, but at this stage of the game, you don't want to be giving your wicket away by flirting with something outside the off stump.
Much closer to the batsman from Tandantini, and well played by George van Heerden. I mean, you have been saying it. Going at 3.3 at this stage of the game is ideal. There's nothing wrong with that. You can pick up the pace as the time goes.
Indeed you can, but you still need those wickets in hand. You need to keep the scoreboard ticking over, and when the bad ball does come, you need to be able to put it away.
Back of the length from Tandantini to end the over. The score is 39 for 2 after 12. His first over goes for 7 runs. It's a good comeback, having gone for a 6, a huge 6 over extra cover. And as expected, Hardas Kutsa comes into the attack to replace Nico van Sail. He had a very good game. Well, he's had a very good past couple of games, Hardas Kutsa, with the ball. It's not the worst situation to be in for the 6-gun grill Garden Route Badgers, but as you said, they need to navigate the next few overs. Very well played.
one of the best shots to get off strike is just running it down to third man.
Plays it in front, does George van Heerden. Perhaps since he has just gotten to the crease, he is trying to get more of a feel of the ball than Yasin Valley, who's been there since the start.
Yeah, also, gangs, I think, so in this part of the game, you know, when you're hitting the sweepers, you're hitting them hard and straight to them, you get ones. But you also want to hit the pockets of the sweepers. So you're challenging your sweepers to go 10 meters to the left, 10 meters to the right. That gives the batters an opportunity to get two. So I know a lot of coaches talk about hitting sweepers, but you got to hit the pockets of the sweepers.
That's very well played. Great shot. Just opens the face of the bat. No chance for Michael Copeland or Gaudisa Molefe standing at backward of point and at point.
Well played there by George. He's allowed that to come to him. You know, he's watched it under his eyes, full face of the bat, in between the point and cover, races away for four. You know, also Buffalo Park is the type of field that it has value for shots. You know, if you hit it well enough, you're going to get rewarded for it.
Tries to pull a bit straight and there's a chance for a run out. The Eastern Cape Iinyathi captain Nathan Rue, unfortunately for him, misses the stumps. It would have been interesting had we seen a direct hit.
It's going to be interesting to see how much purchase the spinners are going to get on this wicket and what the approach is going to be from the batting side, especially from Yasin.
Once again, they take the quick single. You spoke about the sweepers and making them work, but Nathan Rue there was standing at mid-off and he was made to work. That ball went a few meters to his right and that gave the batters a chance to go through for that single.
Yeah, so also just for all the youngsters out there that are watching or listening, knowing how hard you've hit the ball is very important. You know, if you've hit the ball too hard, straight to the fielder, you don't get a chance to run.
That's a good point. And that previous boundary from George van Heerden prompted the Eastern Cape Iinyathi to take out Michael Copeland from that cover point area to sweeper, and he's able now to go through for an easier single, and that's how we end the over. 47 for 2 after 13.
As the batting side, you're always trying to force the hand of the fielding side by putting them under pressure. You know, the only way the fielding side is going to make changes is if you force them to, and that's by hitting the ball through them, and you get a boundary or two, then you force them to make a change. But if there's nothing happening, then the fielding side is happy to just sit there and wait for you to come at them. So now that boundary there that went through the covers has forced them to put out a sweeper, and the batsman wins that battle. You know, those balls there that Tand was bowling to George van Heerden, back off a length, probably on about fifth stump, and you're seeing George van Heerden trying to turn them to mid-wicket square leg area. I'd be very careful by doing that, especially early on in his innings, because of the wicket being too paced. A leading edge could become part of the problem here.
You have to think that that's exactly what Christian du Toit is standing there for. There's a chance that he might be the one that takes that catch, and Tandantini tends to hit the deck hard, but with the wicket, as you say, being too paced, there's every chance it could happen. Very well played. Very well played. Great shot. Great shot. No chance for the fielders there. As straight as a whistle. And they get to the 50 with that glorious straight drive from George van Heerden. 51 for 2 after 13.3 overs.
Again, value for shots. Straight down the ground, full face of the bat. Through Tandantini's hands there. But George van Heerden picks up a boundary. There we go.
Once again, he tries to play that shot through the mid-wicket region. But it seems that Tandantini is able to extract an extra bit of pace from that side than Chad Clausen was. The ball is keeping fair to how it is coming from the hand. Once again, solid defense from George van Heerden. Seems to be in good nick so far. Only one ball that he played recklessly or carelessly early on, having faced 16 deliveries.
Yeah, Van Heerden looks like the type of batter that likes to assert himself. You know, he doesn't like bowlers bowling to him. He wants to dictate how bowlers must play. So he likes bat on ball and is looking to score, which is always a good thing for a batter. You know, positive body language and looking to score.
There you see it again. It finds the man on the sweeper on the leg side boundary to end the over. Tandantini's first 2 overs have gone for 12. The score is 52 for 2 after 14. Hardas Kutsa about to bowl his second over. When he was bowling, we saw that the Eastern Cape Iinyathi did have 4 fielders out on the boundary, offering him a bit more protection than Tandantini.
Ideally, as the batting unit, you'd want the likes of Van Zyl, Clausen, and Ndini to come back for their second spell, whilst you 2, maybe 3 down. Now, if you get the quicks coming back for the second spell, bowling at the guys that they bowl to up front, the batting side is doing something right.
Once again, hit too hard, so there's no chance for a second run there.
Guys, you look at that, he rocks back on the back foot. Full face of the bat, out the middle, great timing. Straight to the sweeper, 1 run. Again, that one there, slightly to the left, to the right, with a little bit less power, there's a chance of 2. Hitting the pockets is very important.
Good rotation off the strike from the 2 batsmen. And the fielders are getting their kilometers up here. So are the umpires. And we did mention earlier on that we would see more and more people coming into the stadium as their matches finish all around Gombo City. .7 and over is not bad, especially on a used wicket. This is a wicket that the Eastern Cape Iinyathi scored 300 runs on 4 days ago. Looks a bit drier than it did. Not kept under the covers as much as it was for the previous game.
And also, the previous game in total produced close to 550 runs. So yeah, Buffalo Park is if you're willing to invest your time out in the middle, there's value for runs out there, you know. But you need to face and go through the tough times before it gets easier. So there's definitely runs to be scored out there, but you've got to be able to take the heat, You got to be able to sacrifice up front for it to get easier.
Hardeskutsa. George van Heerden once again plays that with hot hands, you might say, because he was trying to run it down to third man. You see him practicing that shot once again, not waiting for the ball to get under him. He's gone for 10 runs so far in his 11 balls as Hardeskutsa. A single off the last ball of the over from George van Heerden. 55 for 2 after 15. He of course has good memories of Buffalo Park, does George van Heerden. I remember in 2022 or the 2023 season, he captained the SA under 19 team in the CSA T20 Challenge or T20 Cup to victory right here on this ground. He even scored a century in the final. Looked like a very bright prospect, and there's still time for him to fulfill all of that potential.
Yeah, I like the look of him. You know, how he stamps his authority out in the middle, how he sets up his body language, and his scoring areas and options very good as well.
And he takes Tandantini on. Ntini trying to assert his authority over the batsman, but George van Heerden tells him, I may have only faced 22 deliveries so far, but you will not bowl there, sir.
Again, that shot there is shot of authority. You bowl well, I'll respect you. You go upstairs, I'm going to dispatch you. Great cricket shot from George van Heerden.
Plays that in front of square. To show that he saw it all the way. He saw it early. And it seems like the ball took a bit of a pounding when it bounced off the advertising board. Tandantini once again, he bowled a good last over, but he went for a 4 of his third delivery. Now he starts with a 4. Let's see how he comes back.
The last 4 overs has been 3 boundaries, which then says to the batters, we don't have to go out of our way and look and search for runs. You know, those boundaries are coming. In between those, the 1s and 2s are very important. You know, from coaching youngsters, you always tell them what's important is what you do in between the boundaries. You know, you can hit a boundary of ball 1 and a boundary of ball 15. What happens in between is important.
That is what happened now. After having the first ball go for a boundary, they have 5 runs of the first 3 balls of the over.
And simply, you just keep collecting runs. You know, collecting runs is not about boundary hitting. It's about what you're doing in between the balls and between boundaries. Collecting your 1s, collecting your 2s, running hard. When there's a chance of a 3, you take that. And you just keep collecting runs as you go. And the scoreboard keeps ticking over. That's the most important thing.
See some running repairs for Tandantini. Seems as if he has an issue with one of his spikes. And he asked the umpire for one of his trusted tools to fix them. And he is ready to go. Changes angles. To the left-hander, he is coming around the wicket. Ball straight, and Yasin Valley keeps it out. He finally has 4 fielders out on the boundary this Tanantini.
Great game of cricket happening on the outside of the boundary there from the youngsters. That must be the biggest set of stumps I've ever seen in a game of cricket. You missed the ball there, you definitely out.
There you go. Thought I saw a high backlift there. Plays it well in front of square, into the pocket. And there's a chance for 2 runs, just as you were saying in the previous few overs, Os. And that's how we're in the over 62 for 2 after 16. We're going to have a change in commentary. I'm going to be leaving. Jack is going to come in.
Just a very interesting stat here. After the first 10 overs, the achieved strike rate was, runs per over was 2.9. And after 15 overs, the batting side have upped it to about 3.9. So the runs are starting to come along. They're collecting well. The bowling, maybe not as disciplined as what it was in the first 10 overs. Welcome back, Sir Jack.
Morning, Aussie. Off the back foot here, there. It's our first time to meet here behind the mic today. How are you doing, buddy?
Oh, good. Always having fun when I'm watching a game of cricket, and obviously talking about it to those that are watching at home.
Yeah, the watching now is different. You're watching while working.
Indeed, it is different.
Yeah, great pointers you picked up. It's also something that I've noticed that the strike rate now went up to 3.9, which is a positive to the visitors. Ooh. And you'll have to re-bowl that one again. Overstepping there.
I think the coaches always, Jack, talk about the controllables. You know, things like wides, no balls, overstepping, dropping catches. Those are controllables. And at the end of the day, those can hurt you as a team.
Very funny. In our days now, the bowlers are using tape measures, while the old toppies were doing it manually, counting. Gets underneath that one, he lofts it. Looks like it went all the way for 6. Great shot there by Van Heerden. That was a release shot.
Again, the key there, Sir Jack, didn't move much. You know, he stood there, watched the ball, big bat swing, head down, hit through the line of the ball, and he gets the maximum. Well played.
Yeah, great shot indeed. I see the fans are enjoying it. And it's filling up today. I'm surprised. Earlier on, there were young guys that came to support Van Heerden, and all of a sudden now they're busy playing cricket there.
And their cousin is the one that's batting now.
I find it funny.
I'm sure they'll catch up and watch it back at home when they're back at home on TV.
Yeah, great thing that CSA is bringing to you all the games, both Division 1 and Division 2. And they might even have to clip their footage there. Yeah, good going by Yasin Valley. He's the talisman so far. He needs to bet deeper and make sure he bets until the end.
Yeah, I think up front he looked to go at the bowlers, he looked to attack them, but I think now he's taken the accountability to himself. And for a batsman, that's very important, that word accountability, and making sure that you're not leaving it for anyone else, and that it's going to be you out there facing the music, collecting the runs, and taking that authority and running with it.
Yeah, 100% OC. Hardest to Vali. Charging down, but will get a single, and that's the end of Haradas over, and the score now is 73 for 2 after 17, and it's been scorching here, and the players will take a drinks break and will come back after the break. Okay, welcome back live. If you just joined us, the Garden Route Badgers won the toss and elected to bat, and the score now currently is 73 for the loss of 2 wickets after 17 overs. Yasin Vali is still in the middle, 30, undefeated. Van Yerden is 27, not out. Kyle Jacobs is out, and Teblanche is out. Now, top of the bowlers was Nico van Zyl for the home team, who's got 2 wickets and for 11 runs, and is the only one that has taken wickets so far. Very good game, slow paced. The visitors are getting there slowly but surely. Yasin Valley is still there on 30. He's the one that understands the wicket better than everyone now. As we see now, there's bowling changes. Right after the drinks, they are dropping the pace, bringing in Molefe. It's going to be a great matchup for Van Heerden. He's going to be turning the ball away from the right-hander. Molefe to Vali. Vali will cash in a single there. And obviously it's a left and right hand combination. The fielding will be changed quite often. But now the good thing that Molefe would like is that this is the good matchup for himself. He will be turning the ball away from the batter. I see Van Heerden was looking at cow corner so early in the day.
Very interesting fill sets here for Gaudi Molefe to both left-hander and right-hander. He doesn't have a slip. And so Jack, as you saying, he's turning the ball away from the right-hander. So you'd expect, as a team that wants a wicket or two, maybe a slip in there, or maybe the plan is that they're going to bowl wicket to wicket and try and trip them LB or bowled.
Yeah, ideally it's very rare you see him without a slip. But maybe since it's left and right hand combination, it's a good replacement for Jade. Jade went to play for Northwest Dragons. In terms of the roles,
he's a very consistent left-arm spinner. You know, he's not a defensive bowler. He's an
পান্ডামার্ট থেকে মার্কস কিনে আপনিও জিততে পারেন বিশ্বকাপ টিকিট।
handy with the bat. Now, I'm not saying Molefe can't bat, but with Jade, you know he's gonna give you that 50 you're looking for, and is aggressive at the back end of the innings.
Jade was a complete package. Really, really was.
Van Heerden will get a single there to end the over, and the score now is 77 for the loss of 2. World Cup finals today also happening. Who's your money on?
So Jack, the World Cup ended for me when when New Zealand did that thing. You know that thing that New Zealand did?
That thing.
Yes, that's where the World Cup ended for me. But it'll be an interesting watch. If New Zealand bat anywhere close to what they batted against the Proteas, they'll be well within a shout for the win of the World Cup. But India at home, very difficult to beat them.
Dot ball there. Yeah, also even worse if New Zealand will be batting second, because most of the teams now, they're using the U. You win the toss, you field, the way they batted against South Africa. It's a pity it was a knockout game and there were no bonus points. The game was done in 12 overs. Was wanting to take chances and get the second run there, but unfortunately Lihle Sizani was on time there, patrolling the boundary at square leg there, deep in the boundary.
George van Heerden watches the ball so well. You know, that one, the clipping of his of the hip, he's watched that onto the bat, and an easy one to square leg.
Guess his man! There was no foot movement at all there. Yasin Vali departs. Ball that was outside off stump. He just flashed his back, rather his bat, and he was caught by Malika behind the stumps.
So Jack playing away from his body there. Ball finding the outside edge. Malika cleans up with the gloves at the back there. There's something we forgot to talk about here, Sir Jack, and that's the drinks break and what it brings afterwards. You know, that first 2 to 3 overs after a drinks break is very, very critical because 80% of the time it comes with a wicket.
Yeah, that's 100%. Great take there by Malika behind the stumps. Because normally any breaks with cricket, you must know it's going to disadvantage the batting side. But the home team won't say no to that.
100%.
Yeah, as we see now, Peko Moletsane going into the middle. The guy that was there from the commencement of this innings, he departed now, Yasin Vali for 32. And good thing is for the visitors is Van Heerden is still there and is on 30 runs. You don't want to get new batters at the same time. They never had a partnership that is going. If my memory served me well, nothing that was over 40 as a partnership.
That last partnership was starting to pick up. You know, they were starting to control things, and lapse in concentration. Great catch behind the stumps from Ncedisi Malika, and the wicket was found. I think Gaudi Molefe will be very pleased now because there's 2 right-handers out in the middle.
Ardas to Moletsane, clipping off his pads there to get a single. Good work there from Christian Dutoy.
So Jack, the contribution of the first and second change bowlers to any team is vital, especially when your opening bowlers have done the hard yards. It's vital to back them up.
Yeah, they've done their jobs very well. The coach will be happy with the performance, but the job is nowhere near to be done. They will have to tighten the screws. Hardas to Van Heerden. Nice back foot punch. And that's the end of the over. And the score now is 80 for 3 after 19 overs. Van Heerden is on 31. Moletsane has got 1 run.
Yeah, once again, George van Heerden is just very easy on the eye. You know, he's a likable batter. If you're coming in to watch the game and he's batting, you'll ask questions about him. Who is this batting here? Because he just looks the part. Looking the part and delivering the big runs is 2 different things. But certainly, at this present moment, he's looking the part.
Yeah, it's a pity they can't hold on a little longer. They're looking very good. Everything they're doing it is on point. Also playing that one under his eyes. It will be lovely for the coach. I'm talking about now the Badgers to get at least that player will stand out for you and score that 50 runs you're looking for, and the 100 maybe. And the good thing also here now, the home team here, the Iinyathi, they are the defending champs here. They were sharing the trophy with the Tuskers. You don't want to look like Kaizer Chiefs when you are defending your trophy. You get knocked out on the first round. Great ball there by Molefe. Drawing the batsman forward. Testing his defense. And also it's good to see that though I'm not happy by the rotation of the strike, boundaries are not coming, but I would love at least to see them rotating the strikes, taking those singles, turning the ones into twos. Great shot.
I think the plan here, Sir Jack, is to attack the new batter. As you see a slip coming in, the guy at cow corner coming into mid-wicket. They're trying to force him to do something silly and hopefully get his wicket. I like this field. It's more aggressive. It's more saying to the batsman, you come at me.
Lovely to watch. Nice fielding, like you have alluded. Lovely. And that's the end of the 20th over. The score now is 83 for the loss of 3. And I was also watching OC yesterday. The boys went up to the switch, I say 20 schools. How is the camp from Selborne?
Yeah, I think everyone's still in high spirits. Schoolboys are very finicky. When you arrive at a field expecting to play at 9 o'clock and the field is waterlogged, and then you're going to play 2 o'clock, then you got to find something to do for 5 hours, and you got to keep them entertained, but also you got to keep them focused on what they're about to do. So that played on their mind as well. Yeah, but look, the achievement as Selborne College, to go there and fight with those schools, and I don't think they did themselves any disservice. We saw some great performances. We saw a catch that's probably going to trend for the next year
by Manyonga
AV, and it couldn't have happened to a better person, because he's going to claim it, he's going to own it, he's going to walk around with that catch on his shoulders for the next year or so. So no, the guys didn't do themselves any disservice at all.
Nicking that one, and it goes to the boundary for 4. That was a vacant area. First boundary from Moletsane. Yeah, and also I wouldn't say it was a matter of adaptability, because they have won games under their belt in the Highveld. Dot ball. Now, in terms of the Eastern Cape schools, do you believe that any school that will be representing the Eastern Cape, we still stand a chance of winning the competition? Or how far is Eastern Cape from these other provinces? Far apart.
Very difficult question, this. No, but I think in the holistic approach of cricket, the game of cricket has moved on, and one or two schools are there and thereabouts, but the bulk of the schools in our region aren't there yet. But if you're good enough to win our competition in the Eastern Cape, then you're definitely good enough to go and fight with everyone else out there. I think for me, it's how you prepare, understanding where you're going, and playing fearless cricket. I think in our region, we're too cautious the way we play the game.
Great shot. Flicking it off his legs. For a single, it's a pity.
It's a no ball.
That will be a free hit. It's a no ball. He has been overstepping. If my memory serves me well, this is his second. Van Heerden did well on the previous one. Some discussion between the captain and the bowler, changing of the fielding positions, and it is allowed because the batters did swapped. Ardas to Van Heerden. Drives it straight down the ground. But there's two boundary patrollers there. Did a very good job. And they settled for a single.
It looked like one of his hands came off the bat there as he tried to strike the run. Yeah, he lost shape there. He lost his shape. That top hand came off the bat. Didn't time it well at all.
Shot was there. Mistimed it. And that's the end of Hardas over. And the score now is 91 for the loss of 3. 9 runs before they get to 100. Yeah, I know there were good things happening in the switch schools competition. One thing I liked personally was to see a hub competing against these top tier schools. That was a positive for me. Molefe to Van Heerden. Catch! Oh, it was a bum ball. My bad.
TV cat. That's a TV cat. That's for the spectators, that.
I was ahead of myself there. And funny, it was only me that was excited.
Ooh.
Yeah, just to wrap up, it's really a good thing that you've got Graham College that went there 2 times already, if I'm not mistaken. Selborne also went, and they were not knocked out. They went to the semis. We'll take a single there. The previous year, Graham College was kicked out by Bishops, who won the league, the switch.
Yes.
So there is at least a light at the end of the tunnel, and there is hope for Eastern Cape schools.
No, there definitely is. It's just you want our competition to be tougher in our region, because if we're competing well with one another,